let's go on to this next topic, man. Next topic that we have is about it's another topic about Google. Let me jump into this and so y'all can see this article. Article reads three black-owned Alabama businesses each get 100,000 from a $5 million Google fund. Just to read like the subhead of it, health tech firm Acclinate, networking app Mixtros, and healthcare monitor SensorMed were chosen along with 15 firms from, or along with other firms from 15 states to receive money. So this is $5 million that has been split out amongst a variety. It says among 50 nationwide chosen. So amongst 50 companies, $100,000 was given out to each one of them, which totaled about $5 million. And in particular, these three companies from Alabama, which is, a bonus in general for Alabama, just for being black-owned companies in Alabama. Alabama has a large history of being a racist state, being a Confederate state. So to see them actually, to see Google investing in black-owned businesses in Alabama is just a bonus in itself. What do you think about this, Mike?
Yeah, I think it's pretty dope. I was going to say you hit the nail right on the head. I was going to point out that it was not just one in Alabama, not just one black-owned business. It was three black-owned businesses in Alabama that got a funding. So I think Google, I think they did pretty good, with the funding on this one, because not Google. No, it is Google. I'm tripping. But yeah, I think they did pretty good on. I thought I seen Bezos, but
startup Black Founders Fund.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well,
I got a little side eye about the whole thing because it's still Google. It's still $5. It's whatever. Yeah. All right. Thanks for the $5 million. But it's $5 million.
That's what I want to say. I think they did. Singling it out, but at the same time, it's only, how much is $5 million to $1 billion? Of course, they.
Let me see. Yeah, that's what I'm about to say. Let me see him put $1 billion in it. Then we talking.
Yeah, because they can put up. If they're close to $2 trillion as far as market cap, and they want to really, at the end of the day, I remember back in the days, they would always talk about how switching to like some more hip hop stuff, right? They'd be like, Jay-Z, he wasn't really on the whole like philanthropy type of thing. He'd like give out like 25,000 here and there when they got like millions upon millions. And it is what it is. Maybe he, it's a different story. Who never know? You never know what the telltale is. Because some folks, they do stuff and it's not really talked about. Go under the radar. But I feel like it's maybe in that same energy of, if how Google has taken over the game so much, like you said, have a digital footprint, and when it comes to, when you think about search engine, you think Google anything. We even use that. Maybe they could have shoveled out a little bit more money. I know that when it comes, when they say 100,000, it's good because they only, as far as how much money they were putting up in the first place, $5 million. It was, and they had to pick 50 different. Well, I don't know if they had to, but they picked 50 different other companies. Yeah. So it's good, but. Again, how much is $5 million really worth to Google? That's what the question really is. Is how much is it really worth?
Right. And I really want to see, because Google is known to make companies. They're documented as turning over 2,000 companies essentially. So 2,000 companies worth of whether they're employees or just companies that they've invested in, they've essentially turned out 2,000 other companies coming from Google. So it's always a good idea for Google to invest in other businesses just because it sort of diversifies their portfolio. Essentially, allows them to spread their wings a little bit from just search and advertisement. But I like to see what they actually doing with it a little bit more. Two of these companies are health based. I know Google was big on the whole concept of health. I remember when they first came out with Google Health, but then they killed it. And then came back out with it again with like Google Fit. But now they actually bought the Fitbit and, investing in companies like this, particular like the the sensor med. I wonder what type of sensor that is. It says a healthcare monitor, but it doesn't really specify like the details of it. I'm gonna look these companies up a little bit more, along with the health tech firm. Um, I like to see how they would circle around the idea of Fitbit, being that they still haven't really fully transitioned to working with Google. Like, it's under Google's umbrella essentially, but they haven't really rolled out any products using Fitbit. They haven't come out with like a new Fitbit watch at all or anything like that. So
Google Bit.
yeah, exactly. I mean,
G-Bit.
so like I'm wondering what their plans are with investing in these companies. Usually it's hard to say. Like sometimes you may think that because it's Google, you think they're going to come turn out this next billion-dollar company, and they just coming up with something that it may be a couple $1,000,000 here and there on its own, which is great in itself, but it's not necessarily. They're not about to change the future with it. They just trying to make a quick bet where they can get like 5% return on their investment type thing.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it'd be good to see. Like I said, I'm more just happy about the fact that they talking about Birmingham-based businesses, and being that they Black companies. So, like that's a main bonus there. I'm gonna watch these companies a little bit more just to see what comes out of them.
I mean, I think that at the end of the day, like you said, the fact that they have invested in, so there's already, I watch ABBA and Preach, their podcast, and they talk about it often. Like they address some things that they're like, racial issues and stuff like that, whether it be within like, all across different industries. And I like the idea in this that they are, singling out, they talk about some of these things in their podcast, right?
Mhm.
But when it comes to certain companies or entities directly focusing on a particular race and why that's a good thing. And one of the things I believe in is that a rising tide raises all ships. And one of the undercurrents of America is that we still live in a racist society, whether it be whether it be overt or covert. It's still people are impacted by racism on a daily basis. And the fact that it seems like Google they're taking a little bit of money, a little bit of their money to focus directly on the Black cause, which is helping establish Black businesses to help the Black infrastructure. I think is a good move for this America, and I would actually want to see that happen more often because again, rising tide raises all ships. I think that once we start to be able to give people a fair chance to participate in capitalism, we may start to see a lot of the issues that people face when it comes to prejudice and stuff like that slowly start to dissipate. I mean, I may be reaching for the stars there, but I think that's something that could potentially come from having a concerted effort to invest in racial groups that are not part of not our European counterparts. I'll put it like that.
Yeah. I'm doubling down. You just reminded me. I might have just like broke my desk, but I'm doubling down on what I said. Yeah, man, they need to put $1 billion in this because I forgot you just reminded me. Like they fired the AI evangelist because of the paper that she wrote, some type of dissertation that she wrote about how she believed the problems that exist with artificial intelligence and being biased and all that stuff. And
I remember that. Yeah,
and like they never really resolved that. They sort of like just washed over it a lot, and doing things like this to get their name in good graces with the African American community.
People like myself.
Yeah, exactly. So you know what, I want to see something come out of it before I start giving them applause. So. It is what it is.